Welcome back to Bet with Bobano. It's been a little while, but we are finally back with you Monday, July the 8th, Ian Cameron. And starting today, this show will be weekdays, Monday to Friday at this time, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. I should say a little bit after 4 p.m. Eastern. We rarely, if ever, start on time. But it will be approximately this time, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, Monday to Friday, and definitely looking forward to it. And it's going to be, pretty short shows, especially this time of year. We're talking, pretty much just MLB. As far as sports that I handicap, I know there's WNBA going on, and I know there's obviously some soccer events going on, but MLS, but for the most part, sports that I handicap personally, it's MLB a little bit. That being said, I do, thanks to opinions of other handicappers and bettors in their various sports that I respect. Like if you're a good soccer bettor and I know you, and you're going to give me picks and things I should be betting, I'll bet them. If you're a good golf bettor and I trust your opinions and you're pretty good at it and I know you, and you're going to give me a few golf bets that I should be placing for a given tournament, I'm going to place it. So I definitely bet the other sports too, just like the ones that I handicap, which are football, hockey, basketball, baseball, and a little UFC. But I definitely rely on other people's opinions for those. But here today, for the most part, we'll break down, what's left of the Monday MLB card. It's a very short card. There's 5 more games left on the slate. We will get to those in just a moment. But before we do that, very important to mention now that this week, today, and especially tomorrow, I will be introducing this discount offer for my all sports subscription at Dub Club. Again, there's the website, dubclub.win/r/Bobano. I always tell people, if you really want to profit long-term with me as a subscriber, as a member, sign up long-term. Sign up for a 6-month or a 1-year subscription, or at the very least a 3-month subscription rather than just the monthly option, because you'll also save money long-term if you go with a longer-term subscription. But right now, starting today, at Dub Club, I am offering the 6 months all sports option, which is normally priced at $400 US. It is going to be down to just $250 US for the next 6 months all sports. And why that is such a great price is very simple. $250 for 6 months all sports, compared to many websites that you got to pay at least that for just 1 month. And you're obviously going to get, tons of value out of it. I'm a high volume bettor, so once we get into September and NFL and college football roll around and we get close to the NHL hockey season starting and NBA and college basketball not long after that, you're certainly going to get a plenty of it's going to be worth it. You're going to get your bang for your buck. You're going to get a high volume of plays on a daily, regular basis. Looking forward to that. You're also going to get the NFL college football season win totals and futures betting report, which I am working on right now. In fact, it will be ready by August 1st. I posted the date on Twitter, Thursday, August 1st. That is when I will have that NFL and college football season win totals and futures betting report ready. All of my season win total bets, all of my futures bets. And the goal is profitability with that report, and it has been that way more often than not, more winning results than not with that report over the years. So I'm looking forward to it. We're putting in the time. We've got some really good, I think, pretty strong opinions, good bets out there, teams that I think could be improved quite a bit this year in NFL and college football, teams that could be on the decline. So definitely good, positive expectation, bet on situations to evaluate with that. So that will be a part of the report. So again, it's a great offer. I mean, it's $250 for 6 months. That will carry you right through into January. So if you were to subscribe today, July the 8th, you're basically good until January the 8th, and you'll get every sport, part of the Dub Club subscription here for 6 months. Every sport that I bet and handicap during that time. And again, last year in particular with football, because pretty much a 6-month subscription as of now will take you through the entire regular season of the NFL and the college football season, which will be wrapping up around this time with the national championship game. Of course, looking forward to the first time ever 12-team playoff this year in college football. But last year it was a good season, 11.2 units of profit in the NFL, 11 units of profit in college football. You put the two combined, 22.2 units of profit with NFL and college football combined last year. So very much looking forward to hopefully another strong football season. And again, another strong run over the next 6 months in all sports. So it's a great time to get on that. For just $250, 6 months all sports discount. And this discount will last for July and right up until the first day of the college football season in the late part of August. That Saturday, I believe it's the 24th. Yeah, Saturday, August 24th. That is when this offer will expire. So again, this 6 months all sports discount will be available for quite some time. So what I would say is you might want to hold off on subscribing for it if you want to get the entire football season as part of it. Because if you subscribe, let's say August 22nd, a couple of days before the college football season, then that's going to run your subscription basically till February 22nd. That would be 6 months. So from that standpoint, you're basically going to have the entire college football and NFL season as part of your subscription if that's the time you decide to sign up. So time it the way you want as far as when to sign up. But I can tell you that discount offer for 6 months, all sports, will be in place from today all the way through until the first opening kickoff day of the college football season on Saturday, August 24th. So get on board with that. Again, $250 US, 6 months, all sports. There's the link, dubclub.win/r/Bobano for that. All right, let's get into Monday's MLB card. We've got 5 games left on the slate. We will begin with Cleveland taking on Detroit. We've got Grant Williams on the mound here for the Guardians in this matchup. He will be opposed in this game by Cater Montero for the Tigers. We've got Cleveland rather, minus 150. Road favorites, actually more like minus 145 right now. The total 8.5 here in this game. Gavin Williams, a guy that was just recently brought back in to the rotation here for the Cleveland Guardians in one of his recent starts. And to be honest with you, he didn't pitch all that great. Looked like he was a little bit rusty, maybe just a little bit off his game, but it was definitely not a great performance by any stretch of the imagination for Gavin Williams against the White Sox, who aren't exactly a power hitting team or a high potent offensive lineup by any stretch of the imagination. And Grant Williams still ended up struggling. He gave up 5 runs, 7 hits, lasted just 4 innings back on July 3rd against the White Sox. It was an 8-2 drubbing at the hands of the White Sox over this Guardians team. So, you've got that one body of work to look back on for Gavin Williams here in this spot, in this start for Cleveland. And I'll tell you what, it's not something that gives you a lot of confidence moving forward here with Gavin Williams for the Cleveland Guardians in this start. Again, did not look good against a light-hitting White Sox team. Meanwhile, you look at the way the Tigers have been playing lately. They're starting to really win games. They're starting to, get the bats swinging a little bit. They swept the Cincinnati Reds at Great American Ballpark over the weekend. They ended up scoring 5 runs in each of those games over the Reds. So Gavin Williams, if he does not pitch better here, you do worry if, Detroit might be able to do some damage here against him. Montero on the flip side for the Tigers, he made a spot start against Minnesota, again, 5 days ago. Pitched pretty well, actually. 2 runs, 6 hits, 6.1 innings of work in that start for Montero. But his overall numbers for the season still aren't great. 6.6 ERA for Montero. He's allowed 11 earned runs in 15 innings this season pitched for the Tigers. So you put these 2 pitchers together, and neither one I'm overly trustworthy with. I do like over 8.5 here with the Guardians and the Tigers tonight. That is a bet that I like. It's actually one of my, probably of the games that are left and the bets that are left on this card of mine. That's one of my favorites there, that Guardians-Tigers over. It's a very, very humid night at Comerica Park in Detroit for this game. So the ball should be traveling, carrying a little bit more. Like I said, we've got spotty pitchers on both sides here. Gavin Williams didn't look good in that first start against the White Sox. Detroit's hitting the ball pretty well right now. I could say the same thing about the Guardians, too. They scored 5 in 2 of the 3 games over the weekend against San Francisco. They lit up Schuster for the Chicago White Sox and scored 8 runs in that game. In fact, this team has scored at least 5 runs in 4 of their last 6 games overall going into this game. So you probably should see some runs on both sides. So would lean to this game, or I do like this game going over the total. I would actually lean to the Tigers a little bit. um, in this price range. They're hitting the ball better lately. They've won 4 of their last 5. They're starting to play a little bit better. I know, obviously, overall 42 and 48, but in the shorter term, we've seen this Tigers team start to play a little bit better, and I'm certainly not comfortable after what we saw to Gavin Williams in his first start against the White Sox. I am not at all comfortable laying a price like this on the road with him. So I would probably look maybe at a smaller Detroit bet, plus 122, plus 126 on the money line here at home. But I like the over more than anything here, over 8.5 here with Guardians and Tigers. All right, next up, it's Rockies and Reds. Ryan Feltner and Andrew Abbott, the pitching matchup here between these two teams. We have Cincinnati minus 170, home favorites, 9 being the total here in this matchup with the Rockies and the Reds. Rockies, they actually had a pretty solid weekend at home against Kansas City. They ended up winning 2 of the 3 games. They've been starting to score a few more runs. We'll see how Feltner fares in this game. He's someone that kind of went through a rough June, but he did pitch a lot better in his first July start 6 days ago against Milwaukee at Coors Field. He actually pitched very well. 1 run, 6 hits, 5 innings in that start. Probably one of the better outings that we've seen out of Feltner of late. He did face Cincinnati at Coors Field back in June, and it did not go well for him. 8 runs, 10 hits, 4.1 innings. He was absolutely pulverized in that start against the Cincinnati Reds. So we'll see if Feltner can fare any better here in this outing against the Reds. Meanwhile, you've got Andrew Abbott on the mound for the Reds. He's been just very consistent, no doubt about that. Just very strong, solid numbers overall for the lefty for the Cincinnati Reds. Andrew Abbott, who's given up 2 runs or less in 4 of his last 5 starts. He has an overall 3.28 ERA. And what I like about Abbott here for Cincinnati is, unlike a lot of pitchers, we don't see that home road split. We don't see that sharp contrast between the way they pitch in their home ballpark and the way they pitch on the road. If you look at it, he's right in line both with his home and his road ERA. His home ERA is 3.32. His road ERA is 3.26. So that tells you right there that he's able to pitch well at home, which is, again, because of the fact it just yields and home runs galore. It can be a difficult ballpark to pitch in, but he's got very solid numbers here. Problem with Cincinnati is, again, their offense, and we saw it over the weekend against the Tigers when facing. Now they did face Olsen and Skubal, 2 of the better pitchers on that Tigers team, but still, you're talking about a team that scored a collective 8 runs in the 3 games combined over the weekend against the Detroit Tigers. That's simply not going to get the job done offensively. So we'll see how Abbott can fare here in this game. This is a tricky one because I think the Reds team total is probably the best consideration for me. Feltner was roughed up by this team. That being said, the Reds can, sometimes be a little bit shaky on offense. I don't know if the Rockies are going to pile up the runs against Andrew Abbott, though. He's played pretty well. If you think the Reds' offensive woes can outweigh the concerns with Feltner, even though Feltner did get lit up in Colorado by this Reds team, because I do think Abbott can pitch pretty well here against the Rockies, a lineup going into this game, and I like the consistency we've seen from him of late. And by the way, the Rockies against righties in their last 10 games, 2.5 runs per game, 177 batting average as a team against lefties in their last 10 games. So that tells you right there that this could be a good matchup here for Andrew Abbott to shut them down. It's a very mild night, though, in Cincinnati, and I'm scared to death when you're talking about this heat in the 90s as far as Fahrenheit. To be betting these unders can be tricky, but I would maybe look at a Rockies team total under. I think you could even go a step further. We talked about how the Reds team total over might be solid. The Rockies team total under might be solid. Because, again, we're talking about Andrew Abbott, who's been very consistent. The Rockies team total is 3.5, by the way, but you can bet under 3.5 at a plus price here in this game. Put it this way, look at Abbott's last few starts here. The Yankees only scored 2. The Red Sox only scored 2. The Brewers only scored 3. The Cubs only scored 3. St. Louis did score 4 in a game against the Reds with Abbott on the mound back on June 27. But other than that, 4 of the last 5 Andrew Abbott starts, the opposing team has scored 3 runs or less. So that Rockies team total under is, I think, in a game that I think is a little bit tricky. think that might be the best option you've got. Maybe look at Rockies team total under and or Reds team total over, thinking, well, they can hit Feltner. They crushed him back in June in Denver. So I would lean in those two directions, more of a team totals type of look with the Rockies and the Reds there. All right, next game on the slate, we've got the Twins and the White Sox. It is Chris Paddack and Chris Flexen on the mound here in this matchup. We've got Minnesota minus 190, road favorites, 9 being the total here in this game. Minnesota getting 2 out of 3 against a red-hot Houston Astros team. Very solid series over the weekend for the Twins. And Minnesota, 7-3 in their last 10 games. They're now 12 above 500, 51-39 on the season. So, they're playing some good ball right now, the Minnesota Twins. Chris Paddack will take the mound for them here in this game. He's definitely struggled a lot more. He had a good start to the year, but we're seeing his numbers kind of level off a bit here in the last month. His ERA's ballooned up to 5.29 on the season. Most of his trouble has been on the road, a 7.84 ERA. And he is pitching on the road tonight with this game being in Chicago. But we are talking about more of a light-hitting, suspect White Sox lineup. So something's got to give here. Paddock's been bad on the road, but the White Sox lineup just hasn't been overly trustworthy to swing the bats consistently overall. We'll see who wins that matchup. We saw the White Sox lose 2 of 3 against Miami back home after a 6-game road trip. Chris Flexen on the mound for them. He has been hit hard the last 2 starts. 10 runs, 12 hits in 11.2 innings over his last 2 starts against the Dodgers and the Guardians. 2 pretty good teams, 2 pretty good offenses, but still not what you want to see. He had 1 really good start against Houston on June 20th, but 3 of the last 4 starts have just not been good at all for Chris Flexen. The White Sox are 0-5 in his last 5 starts going into this game as well tonight. So haven't been winning at all with him on the mound this season, which is definitely not something you want to see. In fact, if you go back and you look at the game log even further, my goodness, it is nothing but ugly right now here for Flexen this season. He's been on the mound starting for the White Sox, I believe. I'm counting it up here. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 2-16 is the grand total record. 2-16 for the Chicago White Sox in the 18 starts this season so far for Chris Flexen. 2-16. So, that's definitely not what you want to see. You do have the White Sox, too, returning home off that road trip as well without a day off. So, I think I'd probably consider a Minnesota full game run line here. You can get that at minus 1, minus 145, minus 150. If you want it, just to be safer, you can go with the minus 1. That's often something I like to do. The minus 1.5, if you want, you could go that route. But I think the Twins can probably win this game if not win it by 2 or more. Paddack is sometimes a little shaky, but I think he still should have the better of it against Flexen here. I would probably still look at Minnesota minus 1, maybe as the way to go here in this game. I'd probably have to lean over as well here. Over 9. I don't love the over, but Paddack has not been nearly as good the last month, and Flexen has certainly been lit up repeatedly multiple times the last month. So, and it's another hot, sticky night. What else is new here in Chicago? So Minnesota, Chicago over 9 is probably worthy of consideration here as well. All right, we've got just 2 games left on this mini Monday slate. Next up, it's the Texas Rangers and the LA Angels. John Gray and Davis Daniel, the pitching matchup here. Texas minus 150, road favorites, 8.5 the total in this game. Big series offensively, especially of the last game of that sweep over the weekend for Texas over Tampa Bay. They swept the Rays down in Arlington. Now they'll take to the road to face this Angels team, which they were starting to string some wins together for a little bit, but now they've fallen off again. 1-6 in their last 7 games, which has been absolutely dreadful season for the LA Angels. Davis Daniel on the mound. He's a tough pitcher to project right now. He had a brilliant 8-inning shutout effort against Detroit on June 27th and only gave up 4 hits. In fact, he was very strong in that game. But then he follows that up with just an abysmal start against the Oakland Athletics 5 days ago. 5 runs, 7 hits, 5.1 innings, 2 homers. So the long ball victimized him as well in that start against the Oakland Athletics. So not exactly stuff that you want to see from him right now. But I think when you look at this situation tonight um, for this game, I've lost my train of thought. Hold on. Davis Daniel. That's what I was trying to get at. I got to think he's probably going to struggle a little bit. Texas has been hitting the ball pretty well. You look at the way Texas, the last 10 games, picked things up a little bit. We'll see if that can carry over. We'll see what happens with John Gray on the mound here for the Texas Rangers, but there's suddenly some concerns with him. He started out very good, but he got absolutely crushed by the New York Mets June 17th, gave up 9 runs, 11 hits in 3 innings. He did bounce back to shut out Kansas City in a 6-inning scoreless effort. But then Baltimore just rips him for 8 runs, 9 hits, 5 innings in that start against the Orioles. And then his last start against San Diego, he labored throughout. The strikeouts were down. The control was an issue. He gave another start where he gave up a home run. In fact, he's given up now 6 home runs in his last 5 starts. So the long ball has been a bit of an issue for Gray in the last 5 starts for the Texas Rangers. And again, he was just laboring throughout against San Diego the last time we saw him. 3 runs, 7 hits, 4 innings in that matchup against the San Diego Padres. So we'll see how this one plays out. This is another over lean for me, over 8.5 with this one between the Rangers and the Angels. The concern is Daniel does, I think, have some good stuff, but we're waiting to get the consistency for him, and we haven't seen it yet. We saw one good, one bad. My one concern is that we do get him on a good night, and there have been some nights where this Texas lineup, even against mediocre pitching, they haven't exactly been swinging it in some of those instances. So it's a lukewarm nod to the over for me. I certainly don't want to endorse the Rangers as this kind of a road favorite with Gray kind of wobbly in his last few starts. But you're talking about this Angels team coming back from a road trip and being at Wrigley Field over the weekend without a day off, tough travel spot. So it's a clear pass for me from a side perspective in that one. All right, the final game for tonight, Atlanta, Arizona. Chris Sale and Gilbert Diaz, the pitching matchup in this one. Sale, what a season for him. Minus 180 road favorite here for the Braves. 8 the total in this one. Like I said, what a season it's been for Chris Sale. What a turnaround. People wrote this guy off. Even I did. I was saying this guy's shot. He's done. He's finished. Done. Compete to Tostitos after his run in Boston there. But to see what Chris Sale has done this season for the Atlanta Braves and the bounce back that we have seen out of him, it's been been something else. It's been pretty special to watch it. 2.71 ERA for Sale this year, 127 strikeouts in just shy of 100 innings pitched this year for Chris Sale with this Atlanta Braves team. So he's been absolutely remarkable. It's been an incredible turnaround. He's been even better lately, 1.5 ERA in his last 3 starts. And another pitcher where, you get a true sign of how good a pitcher is when you don't see that split with the home and the road numbers. And for Chris Sale this year, he has a 2.70 road ERA, and he has a 2.72 home ERA. So that's what you want to see. You want to see a pitcher that's given you good performances in his home ballpark and away from home. And Chris Sale has been able to do that, show that consistency, not have that home road dichotomy or home road split. It's going to be Gilbert Diaz here making the start here for the Arizona Diamondbacks tonight in this game. We'll see how he fares. This will be his first start of the season. It's his major league debut. He's definitely a prospect in the mix that they think he can be pretty good. The question is, will he be good right away? This is in theory supposed to have been coming into the year red hot hitting Atlanta Braves lineup. For a large part of the year, it hasn't been that way for them. And obviously, Ronald Acuna's absence has been a big part of that. But overall, they just haven't been swinging the bat collectively as a team that I think a lot of people thought they would. That being said, over the weekend against Philadelphia, the 3 games, they won 2 of the 3. They scored at least 5 in all 3 games. Grand total of 17 runs in the 3 games over the weekend against the Philadelphia Phillies. So I think when you look at this matchup here, Atlanta looks to be getting their offense cooking again, but will it cook tonight against Gilbert Diaz, a guy they're not familiar with, a guy that, has the potential to be, a prospect that the Diamondbacks are going to be looking toward in the future here? That's going to be the interesting question. in this start, because we have seen some, you know, we've seen some mediocre pitching at times, stump this Braves lineup at times. Diaz is one of the top pitching prospects in this organization right now. So they really do like him. He has a 3.27 ERA in Reno, down in AAA, 28 strikeouts, 9 walks in the 22 innings in the 4 starts there. So pretty solid numbers down there. Like I said, the Braves don't have that familiarity with him going into this start. I would probably think there's a chance he pitches well, at least minimizes the damage here against Atlanta. And I definitely think Chris Sale can mow down the Arizona bats. If you look at the proficiency against lefties for the Diamondbacks, they have been mashing. Okay, here's the one little concern, I guess you could say, about Sale tonight is that the Diamondbacks have been hitting lefties. 325 batting average against left-handed pitching for the Diamondbacks in their last 10 games, and we are certainly seeing them smoke the ball right now. 6 straight overs, 6-0 to the over for Arizona in their last 6 games. And look at the runs they've scored: 5, 12, 9, 8, 7, 9. I mean, my gosh, this lineup has clearly come to life. But it's a great matchup to watch because you've got this Arizona lineup an offense that is all of a sudden red hot form coming into this game against a pitcher that's been as good as anybody in the big leagues this year in Chris Sale. So it's interesting who's going to win that matchup. I'd actually try to go against the grain here a little bit and maybe look at a first 5 under. You know what you could do? First 5 under, full game over. I could see that because I could see the starters doing well, but then you get into the bullpens of these respective teams, and I think that's maybe where a little bit more damage can be done. You especially look at Arizona's bullpen. It hasn't been nearly as good here as of late. 4.72 ERA for the Arizona bullpen in their last 10 games. The Atlanta bullpen's been really good, but the Arizona bullpen is not. So, that's where you could still see maybe some more runs. So I still think first 5, maybe leaning under, is not a bad option. My concern still is the Arizona is Arizona mashing lefties right now, but Sale is not your ordinary lefty with the way he has pitched this season. So I still think it could be a lower scoring start. Would lean to that first 5 under. And then maybe a live over or a full game over, because, again, especially from an Arizona standpoint, you do have a very suspect and potentially problematic bullpen and relief corps coming into the game later on when Diaz is done. All right, there's your MLB card. That's about it. We'll get to best bet in just a moment. Shout out to everyone watching. Hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel as well, the YouTube channel. This show is going to go Monday to Friday moving forward, at least until the start of the NBA season. Then we'll probably have to make some adjustments again, because I'll probably be doing the NBA show again 2 days a week next season with my regular crew, Ski, Dutch, and Wham, over on Ski's channel. If that's the case, we'll probably have to go back from 5 days to maybe 2 days or a week again, like we were doing previously. But for now, it's going to be a Monday to Friday show. So make sure you hit the like button. 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, Monday to Friday. Scott Nagy and everyone else in the chat, we appreciate it. I'm that heat. I was not wearing a paper bag. I should have been. It was a terrible performance by the Hamilton Tiger Cats. We'll get into that more on the Ian Cameron's Football Frenzy show. And again, make sure you check that out later in the week. I will be recording the CFL Week 6. Can you believe it's Week 6 coming up already? Yeah, the Week 6 edition of Ian Cameron's Football Frenzy on Wednesday is when I record that show, and it gets posted Wednesday evening on the channel. And we'll get you ready for Week 6. It was a very good Week 5. We're having a profitable start to the season so far. Nothing crazy, nothing huge. Like, we're not, crushing it early in the CFL, but we're profitable. We're above water. And overall, the numbers since 2012, since I began as a sports bettor full-time, have been outstanding in the CFL. There's no question. And again, we'll put the tweet up there for people to see because there's the give you the numbers. But yeah, overall for the CFL, it's been good. There it is. 3.8 units just the last 2 seasons, 3,800 as far as dollar amount profit. And then, of course, since 2012, since the very beginning, there it is, 35.7 units in the CFL from 2012 till basically today, right now. $35,700 total profit during that time if you use the scale that I use. And I always assign a unit amount to every bet. that gets posted on the Dub Club subscriber and members page to make it easier so you can easily follow along. So, that's basically where we're at right now. But again, solid start to the CFL. There's the NFL numbers, as I mentioned. And again, the 6-month offer, it's totally worth it. It's $250 for the next 6 months, down from $400. All sports now through January, including the entire NFL and college football season, including the NFL and college football season win totals and futures report. dubclub.win/r/Bobano. Again, now's a great time to get on board, because if you sign up today with that 6 months all sports discount, again, you will get it down to it, not only down from $400 to $250, but your subscription will run till January for the duration of the 6 months, and that pretty much covers the entire NFL regular season, pretty much the entire college football season. So that is why we're doing the 6-month discount now, because we give you coverage for the entire football season with Ian Cameron coming up. So again, dubclub.win/r/Bobano for that. All right, let's get into best bets. For me, it's going to be Cleveland, Detroit. I'm going back to that one. Over 8.5 with the Guardians and the Tigers. I think we're going to see some runs there. Gavin Williams didn't look right against the White Sox, and that's not exactly a murderer's row upper echelon lineup and offense by any stretch of the imagination, and Gavin Williams still struggled in that start. Meanwhile, Keider Montero, I don't love his numbers overall. This is a pretty good Cleveland Guardians lineup. I think they're a better offensive team than a lot of people think. People think of them as not a team that's loaded with power, and they're not. They're not a power-laden team, but they know how to put the bat on the ball, keep it simple, advanced runners, and they're still a very efficient. They're a very mechanical, efficient offensive team, and we see that year in and year out. I think they can probably do enough damage. It's a very hot and muggy, humid night in Detroit, as it is in many places tonight, so the ball should carry a bit more. Let's go with that for best bet. Cleveland, Detroit, over 8.5 for my Monday night best bet here on Bet with Bobano. Shout out one more time to everyone in the chat. And again, this show is now Monday to Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. Thanks for everyone tuning in. To everyone tuning in, hit the like button on the way out. I'm Ian Cameron. Bet like Tony Soprano. Bet with Bobano. And we'll see you again tomorrow on Tuesday for another edition of Bet with Bobano.